Welcome to BS Draftcast, where we are Brandon and Steven, and we're back at you with Week 6 of the NFL. As always, got Steven on the other line. Some good games last weekend, some unfortunate losses, some tough breaks. Thursday night, but good game, but not as good as I thought it was going to be. And Steven, how you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Can't complain.
Yeah, so I mean, dive right into it. Last week we had some upsets in college. Had some NFL games that definitely went a different way than I thought they would go. I know there's some bets that we took that they obviously covered. The big one, which saved our day from not having a losing day, was the San Francisco 49ers, Arizona Cardinals. The points plus the spread. We took the under, and then the Cardinals were 7.5 underdogs, which we took that as well. So that saved the day on not having a losing day. Thankfully, it was looking. The Browns are banned forever. That team's ass. I literally, it pisses me off because I think that they're gonna get right, and they don't. Their defense sucks. Their offense sucks. Everything about that whole team sucks. Um, but let's dive right into it, man. Jaguars versus the Bears. This game to me is like an interesting matchup. Uh, the Jaguars seem like they've been rolling a little bit after that complete abomination on primetime football against the Bills. The Bears seem to get rolling. Caleb Williams, I'm still not saying that he's great or good or whatever you want to call it. He had a good game yesterday. He had a good game last weekend. He threw for like 300 yards, but the run game has been helping a lot in that sense, which we've said all along that the run game needs to get rolling if that team wants to do anything. So, what's your outlook on this game? I mean, the score.com has the spread at the Bears -1, which I'm not too sure if that has changed. I can look. But what's your thoughts on this Bears game in the Jaguars? Have you seen anything from the Jaguars that you're like, okay, maybe they figured something out, or do you think this is the same old Jaguars that are just getting gonna get decimated per usual?
Yeah, the Jaguars are definitely one of those teams where, I mean, they're just an interesting team. You never know what they're gonna do. I want to say they're kind of like Cleveland, but Cleveland's probably the worst team in the league now. But yeah, I Jacksonville's just it's mainly Trevor Lawrence. Which Trevor Lawrence are you gonna get? Like last week, Jacksonville they won that tight game. But I mean,
They lost a heartbreaker against the Texans within the final second.
yeah.
So I mean,
So they're
we're
getting
close.
there. You
Right,
know.
exactly.
Yeah, they're getting there. It's just what Trevor Lawrence are you gonna get? That's kind of been the issue for them since honestly since they drafted him. I mean, it's just what Trevor Lawrence are you gonna get? And he doesn't seem like he's really progressed at all. Like any
Yeah.
like showed any true progression. He's still kind of skittish in the pocket. I mean, he still has some boneheaded turnovers and whatnot, but both teams are going to be having some issues in the secondary. Tyson Campbell, Jaguars' number one corner, he is out. Jaquan Brisker, he's going to be out, and Tyreek Stevenson is also most likely to be out. So for the Bears, so I mean injuries in the secondary. So theoretically, the quarterback should have a big day, but Gabe Davis has a knee injury. He should play, but Evan Ingram is probably going to be out again. So
Which that
I
I
don't
think
know.
that shows a lot in that with that Jaguars offense of how big Evan Ingram is to that offense because
Hmm.
the offense hasn't looked great since he's been down. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like Yeah, he's a good. I like. I'm an Evan Ingram fan, but we're not talking about like uh, the top tight end in the league that's down. So it's kind of mind blowing to me that they that Evan Ingram is such a key focal point in that team that the offense just looks abysmal. And I do want
Yeah,
to
he was
point out
definitely. Mm.
last week against the Colts. I mean, let's be honest, dude. The Jaguars were throttling the Colts, and then all of a sudden, Joe Flacco comes out and goes. It's just figure. I don't know what happened, but they figured it out on on the offense, and Joe Flacco ended up throwing for 359 and 3 tuds, and damn near won them the game.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's one of them things. What time? What it was? It was 13-10. Like it was never like it was out of hand, but it just looked like the Jaguars controlled that entire game. And then T Law threw an interception, and
Shocker.
yeah, yeah, he ended up throwing an interception, and it was 13-10, and then it was 2010, then it was 2017, then it was 34-20 with how much time was left? 5 minutes left in the fourth, and you're like, oh, okay, Jaguars finally get the win. Then next thing you know it, Joe Flacco flies Alex Pierce down the sideline and scores in 42 seconds. Their defense gets a stop, and they scored another touchdown. And they go two. They get two plays. He finds Alex Pierce for 65 yards, and they kick a field goal with 45 seconds left. Or I'm sorry, not with 45 seconds left. They score. They kick a field. They kick a field goal or score a touchdown to tie the game with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, and then ultimately the Jaguars drive down and score the game-winning field goal. But it just goes to show how bad this Jaguars defense is. I mean, it's horrendous. You gave up two touchdowns in a minute, 2 minutes, like basically 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Gave up a touchdown, you punted the ball, and then you gave up another touchdown. So they were on the fringe of being 0-5.
Yeah.
For me, I I don't really like this game. Um, being a spread of 1.5. That's what I'm seeing on FanDuel. But I think that if the Jaguars can put pressure on Caleb Williams, I think the Jaguars could squeak this game out, honestly.
I think they could too. And I think Caleb Williams is probably coming off one of his better games, if not his best game last week.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Like, and that's the thing, like anyone that has tuned in and watched us, like we will sit here and call people out. Like it's just what we do. But we will also give credit when credit's due, and he arguably had his best game that he's had. And granted, don't get me wrong. I mean, the run game was there, and that was the big issue. Their first couple games with zero run game. So if they can continue, maybe it helps Caleb, and Caleb's now realizing why Justin Fields fed the ball to DJ Moore, and he didn't care if there's 8 people on him. So, I mean, I think DJ Moore could have a big game today, honestly, against this weak secondary of the Jacksonville Jaguars, especially with their terrible pass rush. But I think that's the key to success for the Jaguars as well, is them getting a pass rush if they want to win this game.
I agree with that. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Another game, the next game we have up, 1 o'clock game, and this is kind of like the Saints fans' dream. Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. Saints fans have been wanting to see Desmond Ridder since they drafted him. And I don't know, man. I don't know.
Wait, what's going on? Wait, so Derek Carr's not playing?
Yeah, Derek Carr is out.
Oh,
Ritter,
so
Ritter's
Spencer
getting the
Rattler.
start. Or Rattler, sorry, yeah, that's my mistake.
Okay,
Rattler,
okay. I
Spencer
was like,
Rattler. Spencer Rattler.
okay.
Thank you for that correction. Yeah, that's my me. Rattler, Spencer Rattler, who don't get me wrong. In college, he did. I mean, he was he's very talented.
Very talented. Yeah, physically,
Uh
physically talented.
I whew, whew. The way these Buccaneers have been playing, I think it's gonna be a long day for Spencer. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Uh, I just I don't know, man. To me, Spencer Rattler isn't an NFL quarterback, but he has had time to sit and learn the game, so maybe that benefits him, and maybe he comes in and balls out. Time will tell. 1 o'clock game. Oh, by the way, that Jacksonville Bears game is at 9:30 tomorrow morning. In London. It's another overseas game. I just wanted to throw that out there. But for me, Tampa Bay only being favored 3.5 points is kind of crazy to me because I mean the Saints, the first two games they looked like the most team in the league, and me and you both said on this podcast we both said that the Saints are going to come back to real life, and I don't think that they are. I don't think they are what everyone thinks they are because they throttled the Cowboys. Like Carolina is what it is, and they beat the living hell out of the Cowboys. But for them to lose to the Eagles because they couldn't score any points, then they lose to the Falcons on a last-second field goal, and then the Chiefs they lose to, which we're not even going to get into that. But I don't think the Saints can compete with Tampa. I really don't. Um, I like Tampa minus 3.5 here, especially with Spencer being at the helm. I mean, Derek Carr didn't it looked like ass last week against the Chiefs, but I don't know how Chris Olave wasn't in your game plan. He literally had 3 targets, 2 catches all game, and his last 2 targets came in the fourth quarter whenever they were playing catch up. I mean, he caught one pass on the first drive and never seen the ball again. Um, do you expect anything from Spencer Rattler getting his first start today or tomorrow, or do you think that it's just it's going to be another rookie quarterback coming in that doesn't do well?
I think that I think that not much is really going to change as far as the Saints' game plan goes. It's going to be get the ball in Alvin Kamara's hands,
Yeah,
and just
right.
kind of let him do his thing. So that's the biggest thing. Which Alvin Kamara's been battling like little nagging injuries all year. But he's gonna play in the game. But Spencer Rattler's one of those guys. He's just polarizing. He's always had a lot of potential, and everywhere he was at college. Like you're just kind of waiting for him to kind of like really take off, and um, he would show those flashes of what made him such a coveted recruit come out of high school, and then the next game he was terrible. But I mean he brings a dual threat dynamic. I mean he's not Lamar Jackson or anything crazy like that, but he does bring that to the table. So he can extend plays and he can make pretty much all throws. It's just his ability to read defenses and whatnot. But
Right.
I think with Alvin Kamara in the backfield, I think it gives him a better chance than it would for if he was on most teams.
Coming in and
Um,
just having to throw the ball to win the game. Yeah, I agree with that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, and just Alvin Kamara's ability to just be that dual threat running back that can catch out the backfield, and he can obviously run the ball extremely well. So, and both teams are honestly pretty banged up too.
Yes.
I mean that's
Yeah.
that's another crucial thing. I don't know if I'm thinking they'll probably get Antoine Winfield back, but he was limited all week and he's listed as questionable. But that would be a huge boost for the Buccaneers. But
I think
yeah,
they
I
get
think
Kalijah back too today, this weekend. I
yeah,
believe.
he was a full participant all week. Yeah, so
That's what I was gonna say.
yeah,
I think that they get him back, which that's a huge staple in the middle of that defense up front.
absolutely. Yeah, but I think I'm with you on this one. I think the Buccaneers do go over, but like I said, there's not any tape really on Rattler. He had a solid preseason, wasn't great, but he had a solid preseason. So there's no tape on it. Maybe he comes out and surprises people, but I think that Tampa Bay ends up winning this game.
And I mean, to be honest, I mean, think about it. This this division's pretty tight, other than Carolina. I mean, you have Atlanta sitting at 3-2, Tampa sitting at 3-2, and New Orleans at 2-3. So if this game, it propels someone into first, it propels Tampa into first place if they win this game, or you have New Orleans that gets to 3-3, and it puts them right back in second in the division, right behind Atlanta, and puts them back on that winning path. So, I mean, it's it's unfortunate Derek Carr is out. I would have liked to watch this game if Derek Carr was in. I think it would have been a lot better game. And as long as I think Baker takes care of the ball, I think that honestly, I don't think there's any way that they lose. I mean, Tampa loses. I don't see it. So, yeah, if I'm gonna bet this game, and actually, I wouldn't mind actually the over under total on this game, even though it's a divisional game, 41.5. Both teams to score 21 points doesn't seem very far fetched. I can see this game going over the total, 21 and a half, 41 and a half. It's a divisional game, and I know typically divisional games have been tight and close, but I think that I think that if I might bet this game, and I think that's the route that I go if I do bet it is the over. I might actually take the points as well with Tampa, but we'll cover that at the tail end segment whenever we give out the bets. And I'll think on it and look at some things while we're just BSing about the different games we have. Um, Arizona, Green Bay. Arizona pulled off the shocker last week. Not a shocker for myself, as I stated earlier. Arizona saved uh, the day from being a negative day to a positive day when we took Arizona plus 7.5 and under 48.5, I believe, was the over under last week. Yeah, the scoreboard does. So the closing odds was 7.5, San Francisco 48.5 under over under. And hey, the the 49ers, they finally closed the game out last week, or well, I can't even say last week, on Thursday against the Seattle Seahawks. And honestly, it looked like it was going to be another week where the 49ers looked dominant throughout the game and then they just crumble. Unfortunately, the Seahawks had some crucial penalties at the end of the game that called back a touchdown from DK Metcalf, which was huge. Um, they I would show a bet that absolutely was deflating on my side. I put in a long shot bet every Thursday, every Monday, every Sunday night. It is usually 10,000 plus odds, and it was gonna hit with ease. And unfortunately, Jordan Mason going down with that. I think what they say it was an sprain, AC joint sprain, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
I had I just needed Jordan Mason for 100 yards rushing, which he had 73 or whatever it may 74 uh in the going into the second quarter, and he was or 60 something going in the second quarter. He ran one ball in the third quarter and then was out the rest of the game. So the 100 yards was going to cash, and it was a no sweat bet, and it was going to win $2,600, which it's sickening that an injury wiped that bet off the board. But hey, it's part of football. It is what it is. That's why we gamble. But the 49ers finally closed one out. We do have a question real quick. Logan, how you doing, brother? He asked if we think that Davante Adams is really gonna get traded to the Jets. Man, the Davante Adams stuff is becoming the Brandon Ayuk for me. Like, I just want it over
Mhm.
with. Tired of hearing
Same.
about it. As far as the Jets, man, I'm up in the air. So everyone knows I'm a Steeler fan, and the I don't think Devontae Adams solves the Jets' problems. Just because you throw another dominant weapon in the mix, I don't think that it solves your problems. It's just like Pittsburgh. If the Pittsburgh were to trade for Devontae Adams, yes, you have George Pickens. Yes, you have Devontae Adams. Pat Freiermuth. Your offense has another weapon that they have to account for. And do I think that he would be a better fit in Pittsburgh than New York? Um, I think it's kind of the same, honestly, because when you add a Devontae Adams and you have a George Pickens, or you add a Devontae Adams and you have an Alan Lazard and a Garrett Wilson, I think it really opens up the threat of, okay, they can really throw the ball around now, but it opens up that run game because, okay, now we can't just stack the box against Brees Hall or Najee or Jalen, whoever's running back is. Do I think he's going to get traded to the Jets? With Robert Saleh gone, which I believe was a great move on the Jets' part, he's an awesome defensive coach, but I don't think he's a head coach. I think it's a high possibility. I think you fire the head coach and then you bring in Devontae, and it's like, oh, we're back, we're up, we're in this now. I honestly, I think it's completely up in the air of where Devontae's going to go. I know it's been talks of Jets, Saints, Steelers, Ravens, Bills. And then it like the Saints kind of fizzled out, and then the Bills fizzled out. Then it got rekindled. I honestly, I don't know, man. I really, I just wish that they would just trade him. Like, they said that something was going to happen. What did they say, Stephen? Something was going to happen beginning of this week or week
Yeah,
six.
they say that all the time, man. It's like you said it. You said it best. It's Brandon Ayuk all over again.
Yes, and I'm just tired of hearing it. I'm tired of seeing
Yeah,
it. Personally, obviously, I want him in Pittsburgh. Steven, obviously, you want him in Baltimore. Um, I, I don't know. I honestly don't know. The Jets, I haven't looked at cap space or anything like that. If it makes sense, if they have something they can give up for him, whatever. So I honestly don't know. Do I think he could get traded there? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I mean that's a fair assessment, Logan. Logan said he's getting nervous if he gets traded to the Jets because Gary Wilson's targets will go down because he has them in fantasy. Hey, I mean that's fair, bro. That's a fair assessment.
that is fair. Yeah, that's definitely fair. But like you said, having that Devontae Adams in there, it frees up Garrett Wilson to
Right.
maybe make more plays, have big splash plays and whatnot. And the same goes with George Pickens. Same goes with Zay Flowers. Wherever he ends up landing. We all know that he's probably going to get traded to Pittsburgh for George Pickens,
No,
and
he's
that'll
not.
just be
Stop.
that. So,
No, he's not. Stop it. If that trade goes down, it'll be the worst trade ever. I'm sorry. I love Devontae Adams, but no. Why give up a number one for another number one that's older? It just doesn't make sense. But yeah, so back to the Arizona Green Bay game. Arizona, they've been they've been weird. Arizona's been so high and been so low.
yep.
I mean,
All
the
right, man.
Washington Commanders game, Arizona got abs. I thought that was going to be an awesome game. I 100% did. I thought
I
that
did too.
Jaden Daniels and Kyler were just going to be flying around the field, and just and the Commanders absolutely just destroyed them. I mean, it wasn't even a game. So this game's this game's tricky to me because it seems like Jordan Love picked up right where he left off. I mean, he had that injury. He was down for what 2-3 games. And whenever
Yeah, yeah.
you just think that the Cardinals have no defense, and they come out and they play defense. I mean, this team is in such a weird spot. It's in Lambeau. What's your thoughts on this game?
Kyler Murray's a lot like T-Law for me, man. I mean, which one are you getting? Are you getting the one that can actually go out there and manage the game and uses their legs to, extend plays and pick up key first downs and everything? Or are you getting the one that they can't hit the broadside of a barn and all of a sudden can't read a defense, can't see, a Marvin Harrison Jr. sprinting wide open down the field? Like, which one are you getting? Because if you get good Kyler, where he's hitting Michael Wilson, he's hitting Marvin Harrison Jr. And your boy Connor, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he was running hard last week,
My boy,
so
dude.
I know. If you keep feeding him the ball, if you keep feeding him the ball, and then it opens up plays, then the Cardinals have something to work with. But me personally, once again, like you said about the Commanders, I'm excited for this game, like the Commanders game. But I'm excited for this game. But which Kyler are you going to get? I mean, this should be a really, really good game. It should, but it all just hinges on Kyler Murray and his ability and the Cardinals defense. Like you said, one week they're playing really well, and then the next week they're getting just torched. I don't. The Cardinals are a very weird team. I mean, they're a team that's constantly in flux. Like, you're like, oh, okay, they're starting to get it going, and this has been since Kyler Murray's been with the Cardinals. Like, we're like, okay, the Cardinals are getting going. Like, they got their guy, and then they lay an egg, and it's like, what the? You're losing to teams that you shouldn't lose to, or you're looking like you're not competitive against these defenses that aren't even ranked high. So,
Right.
like, on paper, this should be a really good game that I'm actually looking forward to watch. But it really hinges on Kyler Murray and another week for Jordan Love to kind of get back in the swing of things. Last week was a little up and down, but give him time to kind of give him another week to get healthier, get that ankle right, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I think it should be a good game, but it all depends on what you're getting out of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I'm pretty sure they get Christian Watson and Jair Alexander back on the Green Bay side of things. I think it, I am gonna bet this game, and I'm gonna go over the points because I think both teams can score a lot of points. 47.5. I know that's a high number. It's been a high number this year. That's not been a ton of points. A lot of the primetime games have been high scoring, but like your Sunday slate games, they just haven't been super high scoring. But I think over 47.5 is the route that I would go for this game of betting it. I think that you have two offenses that, like you said, just mentioned, Kyler Murray, if he is the Kyler Murray that they expect him to be, I think it's high octane. And then Jordan Love, I mean, the amount of weapons he has on that offensive side of the ball, you have you have another high octane offense, especially with the run game and Josh Jacobs. James Conner's been running well. So I think that I would go 47.5 over the total points. I think Green Bay wins this game outright, but I think that it could be another close game. I mean, the Cardinals kept it close with the Lions. Cardinals kept it close with the Bills. They lost by a touchdown or less. So I mean, yeah, I think that the Cardinals have the offensive firepower to get in the end zone and keep this a close game and keep up with the Packers. It's just going to be a matter of turnover battle and Kyler Murray being smart with the ball. And if Alexander's on the field, you got to always pay attention to where he's at. I would assume that he's going to be on Marvin Harrison Jr. But time will tell. And if Jair's injury is nagging, I mean that might be something to watch for as well. If he gets re-aggravates it or gets hurt, I would like to see Kyler go out and attack that side of the field where he's not if he's injured. Another 1 o'clock game: Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans, and the Titans are favored. Who's the quarterback for the Colts this week?
I think Anthony Richardson's supposed. He's questionable, but I think he's going to play.
Do you think Colts fans are questioning if Anthony Richardson should start or not?
I think you got to be right. Like, after,
With how well
and
Joe's been
I
playing?
love Anthony Richardson. Yeah, but like after the way that Joe Flacco play, especially last week. Dude had over 350 yards. Like, I mean, he almost
I mean,
brought you back for a win. Like,
Andy came in and torched the Steelers defense. So I mean,
Joe Flacco's been playing extremely well, and that's my dude, man. I love Joe Flacco, but yeah, I mean, he's up there in age now, but he's still zipping that ball, man. Like he looks good, dude. He's freaking what 39 years old now or something. Like
yeah.
he's still playing really well. But yeah, if I'm the Colts fans, I'm kind of like maybe we just ride the hot hand, and like Anthony Richardson, like it's the future, their team. But everybody knew coming out of college, he's raw. He's raw, and as you seen when he got hurt, he takes some unnecessary hits, man. And
Yep.
what do we always say on the podcast, dude? Slide.
Go down, get
Get
out
out
of
of bounds.
bounds.
Yeah, him and Jaden slide and get out of bounds. But yeah, man, I think it points to reason to like maybe they're like, maybe let's see how far Joe takes us. Why not?
So I'm reading the latest on the Colts, and Anthony Richardson is a game time decision, which I don't. If he's a game time decision, I'm starting Flacco.
Yeah, you're
That's
playing
me.
the Titans. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's kind of the way I look at it.
You're
You're
playing
playing
the
the Titans.
mayonnaise man.
Yeah, you're playing the walking NFL meme right now. Like just yeah. Don't even give Anthony Richardson. Just give him another week if you want to keep him as your as your starter. Give him another week. You're playing the Titans, dude. You can start Sam Ellinger if you want. You're playing the Titans.
Damn, that's old. Damn.
Yeah, I went there, man. I ain't worried about the Titans. Nobody's sweating the Titans.
I mean, Pittsburgh was apparently.
Well, that's just Pittsburgh and Baltimore's MO, dude. The teams they should beat, they end up frickin' losing or damn near losing.
Yeah, right. You're not wrong at all. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. We'll get to that. I'll backtrack on that comment when we get to the coverage of the Raiders versus Steelers. All right. So this is my bet for this game. I am gonna bet this game, and I'm taking the Colts. Oh man. Josh Downs is questionable. Kenny Moore's questionable. I know that
Jonathan
Colts are
Taylor is
banged
out
up.
though. That's a big
JT
thing.
is
Jonathan
out. That
Taylor
is
is not
huge.
playing.
Maybe I'm not going to bet this game. I'll think about it. If Joe Flacco is the quarterback, I'm taking the Colts plus 2.5. If Joe Flacco is not the quarterback, I'm not betting. That's where I'm at with it. That's the 100% the theory I'm at. So
your pick's going to be a game time decision.
yeah, but it's basically a game time decision pick. Honestly, you're not wrong. You're 100% right. Unfortunately, that's where I'm at. If Joe Flacco is a quarterback, I'm taking it because I think that Anthony Richardson, his game and his legs are a huge factor in a lot of games. But not having Jonathan Taylor to really take the pressure off of him, it's hard. You can put the pressure on Flacco, and I mean clearly he threw for 350 yards last week and threw for another 270 against Pittsburgh the week before. So, I mean, I don't like having all the pressure on Anthony Richardson just yet. I think that he still needs time to develop and learn and everything like that. So, that's my pick is game time decision, and that's if Joe Flacco is the quarterback, plus 2.5. If Joe Flacco is not the quarterback, I'm not betting. Eagles Browns. I believe
Eagles are
Brown
healthy.
is back. Yes.
Yeah, they got Devontae back, AJ Brown, and Lane Johnson. They're full bore now. There's no excuses.
They are back. The Eagles are back. It really showed not having another receiver to throw the ball to last week. How terrible the Eagles can be. They let Baker Mayfield throw for 347 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked great. Mike Evans had a day. Bucky Irving, not 49 yards on the ground and a tud. Jalen was 18 for 30 and 158 yards. And I'm pretty sure, I think we were texting during this game, and I told you I think he had one target to an actual receiver. The first target to an actual receiver was in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't have a target to a receiver. Um, the Eagles defense, man, I don't
I
understand
don't
what is
get it.
happening. It doesn't make sense. How on paper and that comment goes and gets used so much, but on paper and it shouldn't even be on paper with how good the players they have on that team, on that defense. I mean,
And
they're
Vic Fangio is our defensive coordinator. Like Vic
yes,
Fangio is a
yes.
legend. I mean, he is a freaking legend. He's had success everywhere he's gone. And like if Vic can't get this defense, I don't know.
So let me say this, and I'm glad you said that actually. So Nick Fangio, I mean, defense. He's a legend, like you said. Do you think that Nick Fangio is teams have figured Nick Fangio out, kind of like Dick LeBeau in Pittsburgh? Whenever people figured Dick LeBeau out, do you think that could be the ongoing issue?
It's a possibility. I think trading away Hassan Reddick really hurt this team more than they had anticipated because they don't have that juice. I mean, they got Josh Sweat, but my man Nolan Smith hasn't really, he hasn't really broken out, for whatever reason, but he hasn't really broken out. But yeah, I think trading Hassan Reddick really hurt this team because they don't have that juice. But I mean, look at the freaking front line though. I mean, man, I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility.
I mean, and that's the thing too. I mean, your two dogs up front, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, they're not contributing at all. I mean, they're getting pressure, but they're not getting the QB hits. They're not getting the sacks. They're not stuffing the run. I mean, and these are two guys that literally can play anywhere on that defensive line. So I don't know if they need to just start like mixing things up. If the Browns are going to have an offensive day, Sunday's the day. From what we've
Yeah.
seen from the Eagles, if the Browns come out and lay an egg on offense like they have, and I want to make mention of Deshaun Watson walking off the field on his team whenever they were going to go for it. That just goes to show that organization's cursed. I mean, that organization. I mean, it was like fourth and I forget what the down yard was, but it was fourth down. They wanted to go for it, and he just came walking off the field. And the coach was like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, what, Deshaun? What are you doing?" And that
Yeah,
just goes shows the turmoil inside that.
I guess the reason that he walked off was because he's seen that they had 12 men on the field on offense. They didn't have enough time, so he just said screw it and just walked off. Like they're just a mess. But yeah, they had 12 men on the field, and it's like, how do you do that at such a crucial point in the game? Like as a coach, like how do you let that
Yeah,
happen?
right.
And Deshaun's seeing, well, we got 12 people out here, and we don't have any freaking time, well, so he just was like, screw it, and just, yeah, he just walked off. I don't even know what he said. He probably just walked past him, and he was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Dude, there's 12 people on the field, man." Like I took myself off so we would have 11. Like, yeah, like I don't know, man. I don't know what happened.
That team is bad. I'm I'm getting back on the Eagles train. They came off a bye week. They're healthy. I'm taking the Eagles to win this game by 10 or by at least 10. I'm taking the Eagles minus 9.5. That's one of my bets. That's one of my locks of the weekend. I really like it, and hopefully Jalen and that offense can get rolling again. I mean, I I hope they can. AJ Brown is back. Devonta's back. You still have Saquon. The Cleveland Browns can't stop a cold. I there's no way that the Eagles even the fact that the Browns beat the Jaguars is I don't get it.
No, I
But
don't
last
either.
week
I'm gonna be
against the
honest too.
Commanders, bro, 34-13. Jaden Daniels absolutely went crazy again.
Mhm.
But as you were saying,
I feel like the Browns defense honestly is probably the biggest one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I mean,
100% easy,
truthfully,
easy.
I I mean their offense once again, no they had no Nick Chubb. That's huge. I mean,
That's the
arguably the best
focal
running back
point.
in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not having him, but Deshaun Watson obviously just isn't the Deshaun Watson of, Clemson or the Houston Texans. And but the defense. The Browns defense was like the one thing that you looked at as the bright spot. Like, okay, defense will keep us in the game. Offense, we'll get what we get. You know what I mean? But defense keep us in the game. Defense does not look good either. It's really unfortunate, man, for Browns fans. It seemed like they really had something to build on, and they've kind of taken a step back again. Which by now, Browns fans are probably just like, yeah, that sounds about right. It's unfortunate. It really is.
I agree with you 100%. I do. The Browns are banned. We bet them 2 weeks in a row, and they've cost us 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
So Browns are banned. Texans, Patriots. Oh, I am gonna say we're betting this game. The Texans
Texans
being
rush your starters. Sorry.
no, don't rush your starts because we're betting this. The Texans only being favored by 6.5 is kind of mind blowing to me. And the over under being 37.5, the Texans might score 38 points themselves. I'm gonna let you spill the beans on what's happening with the New England Patriots and what their game plan is. We kind of talked about this, and man, I feel bad. But yeah, what's your thoughts on this Texans Patriots game?
It is not. It is not a good time to be a Patriots fan. It's a good time to be a Patriots fan for the rest. I mean, it's a good time for the rest of the league, but if you're a Patriots fan, it sucks. Um, they're going to start Drake May against the Texans, against Will Anderson, against against Daniil Hunter. I mean, they're going to start poor Drake May, man. I feel bad for any quarterback that has to stand behind that offensive line and have and no disrespect to the like they're trying to get like they've gotten younger at receiver. They're trying to get something going, and hats off to them for that. But they're not there yet. I mean, the receivers that they got, they're not there yet. I mean,
Right.
there's no real like who's the threat? Like they don't have anybody. Like Demario Douglas is young, he's explosive.
Hunter
Jalen
Henry's
Polk, he's
threat,
young.
dude.
Hunter Henry, look at him. Yeah, he hasn't done shit in years. You know what I mean? Like this dude, he had a random blow up a couple weeks ago, and I was like, where did he come from? Like I haven't seen that
Right.
from Hunter Henry in like 4 years. But like there's nobody to really. I mean, I guess he would be your safety net, quote air quotes. But Ramondre Stevenson has had a fumbling problem the past few. He had a really good game last week. I think he finally came out, and I
I
think
think
him
he's
getting
ruled out.
is he out?
I think.
He is out. Foot injury. I didn't even look at the freaking injuries.
Yep.
I was
He's ruled out.
I didn't even look at him yet. So look, dude, Ramondre Stevenson's out. So you have Antonio Gibson, which is all fine and dandy, whatever. But dude, there's nobody on that offense. Half of their offensive line is hurt. I mean,
And it's been abysmal.
Kyle Duggar's hurt.
Period.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I cannot put into words or stress this enough. Like, do not start Drake May. Do not put him.
You're setting him
Do
up for
not put him
failure.
behind that line. You're setting him up to get killed. Is what you're doing. That offensive line is garbage. I mean, terrible. He has nobody to throw the ball to. He doesn't have any rapport with any of the guys that he does have. The only bright spot they would have with Drake May is his ability to move around, which Jacoby Brissett's like a statue. But even then, you run around and extend plays. Maybe he'll spark the offense a little bit, but I mean it's not longevity. It's not. I don't like it. I mean
Yeah.
that's the future of your franchise there. I don't like it, especially against the
Yeah.
Texans. Like come on.
Yeah. If you were playing the Browns or playing Panthers or the Giants, I get it. But bro, you are playing the Texans, whose defense has been. Look what they did to Josh Allen last week.
Yeah, look what they did to Josh Allen. Like, and to the Texans side too. Rest Joe Mixon. Give him another week. You're playing the Patriots.
Yep.
Give him another
Yep.
week. Let him rest
Let
that ankle.
Akers play.
You need him back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And granted, on the Texans side of the ball, they are without Nico Collins, but what they did getting Stephon Diggs, I mean, it's plug and play. You got Stephon, you got Tank Dell. I mean, the offense ain't gonna miss a beat. And
Yeah.
the Texans -6.5 is a lock. I mean, that is a lock. And I agree with you. Starting Drake May, and there's no telling that if Drake May is going to be the next superstar in the league, but I can tell you this week is a terrible time to start him. I mean, hey, if he comes out and he goes nuts and Patriots win this game, we're talking about Drake May being the hero, but I just don't think Minko Ryan's going to let his defense let a rookie quarterback behind a terrible offensive line come out and go wild. I just don't. That's the bet. We're locking that in 100%. Texans -6.5. I mean, there's no doubt. So, moving on to your beloved Ravens. The game last week was one of them games that I said to you on the phone that this is what the Ravens needed. They needed this tough, gritty, just hard-nosed game to see if their identity is there. And I said it last week, they're the best team in football right now. And it showed. Granted, they got lucky on a missed field goal, a botched snap, and they missed a field goal. Derrick Henry breaks a big one, takes off, gets to the 3-yard line, whatever it was, kicked the field goal, they win the game in overtime. The 3-2 record of the Ravens is very overshadowing, and it looks the Ravens are honestly 2 plays away from potentially being undefeated still. They're going against a team that the rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, has been absolutely incredible. They haven't punted the ball in some astronomical amount of time. I forget. I don't know if they punted last week, but I know going into last week, they didn't punt the ball in 3 games. Which, you know how insane that is?
Unbelievable.
They didn't punt the ball. I mean, this offense is just firing on all cylinders. Jaden Daniels making all the throws. And to be honest with you, Jaden Daniels should be leading the MVP race right now out of anyone. But as you said, it's a rookie thing. For some reason, they will not let rookies be the top front runner. The thing that worries me, and I love Jaden Daniels, but also Baltimore I'm a fan of, and I like what they're doing, and I say they're the best team in the football for a reason. The thing that worries me is if Jaden Daniels starts running, that defense is going to light him up. Look what happened to Josh Allen on Primetime Football. I mean, the dude got smoked by Van Noy. And we're talking about a big, big quarterback. Jaden Daniels it's Lamar Jackson on the other side of the ball. And for some reason, the Ravens, when they play someone like Lamar Jackson, they let him run wild, and I don't know why. Like, you guys chase Lamar Jackson all week long, but you can't stop another quarterback. For me, the Ravens -6.5, it's another bet that I really like. And it's going to boil down to the Ravens sticking to their game plan, the Ravens running the ball, a high dosage of Derrick Henry, and this is my most favorite game of the weekend to watch. Lamar Jackson has been playing such excellent football. He hasn't turned the ball over. I mean, the fumble He hasn't thrown interceptions. Let me backtrack that. He hasn't thrown any interceptions, and he isn't. The fumble last week almost cost him the game, but Lamar Jackson is on pace for another MVP season. And I know people hate to hear that and people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. But so is Jaden Daniels. This could be a offensive explosion from both teams. I think Zay Flowers has a big game this week, and I think Derrick Henry has a big this week. For me, I like the Ravens -6.5. I think that the Commanders are going to see this Ravens defense, and the Ravens are going to eat off of it, and they're going to force Jaden to make some poor decisions and force turnovers on the Commanders. That's where I'm at with this game. What's your thoughts with this awesome matchup in my eyes with Jaden Daniels and Lamar Jackson going head to head?
I'm also very excited for this game, man. I mean, I'm pumped for this game. A guy I work with, Tyrone, he's a Commanders fan, and so we were both talking about it, both excited about it, man. I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm just hoping, I'm hoping the defense is able to contain, and they weren't sharp last week. I mean, they ended up clamping down at the very end, but they gave up some big plays last week, and I mean, we talked about it previously with the Bengals, though. Joe Burrow, he starts off cold every freaking year, and then he comes out and he starts firing that ball, and he gets them big targets involved, and blah blah blah. But that was really Joe Burrow's big week. So hopefully that's all it was. Trying to contain Jaden Daniels, trying to keep Scary Terry contained. But Jaden Daniels, he spreads the ball around. He does unbelievable things in the pocket, outside the pocket. Um, Super talented. Once again, slide, get out of bounds. But I'm excited for this game, and I'm with you. Get Derrick Henry the ball, establish the run early. You know, don't go away from it. If Washington goes up a score, it is what it is. Pound the ball with Derrick Henry. Last week, it was a nail biter. You know, I was texting you. I was stressing. I'm not even gonna lie. I was stressing. Lamar had the big fumble. That's kind of one of Lamar's things is fumbles. But that one there, I kind of get it. He he was looking down, he was going through his cadence, and he looked up for a split second, and that split second, unfortunately, was when the ball was being snapped.
Right.
And he fumbled the
Absolutely.
ball.
Yeah.
Defense locked in. Derrick Henry had the big run. JT hits the field goal. We win. So I'm very excited for this game. I'm hoping that I don't know if the Commanders' defense is going to have enough to keep up with the players we have on offense, but that's about distributing the ball, getting Andrews, Likely, Flowers, Henry, get them all going. Um, I think we have a good shot at beating the Commanders, but you can't count out Jaden Daniels, man. Can't count him out.
Yeah, he's playing good ball, man. I really like what Jaden Daniels is doing. I'm a big fan. I think this is the game of the week, and I hope that it turns out to be the game of the week, honestly. I think that it could be a very high octane game, or I think that Baltimore's defense shows up and it really puts pressure on Jaden because I mean, as great as Jaden has been, I mean, let's be honest. You win against the Giants defense, you win against the Bills defense, the Cardinals defense, and the Browns defense. They haven't ran into a defense quite like the Ravens yet. So, I mean, 1 o'clock, that's the game I'll be watching. Time will tell what's going to happen. And I'm taking the Ravens -6.5 in this game. I think the Ravens assert their dominance and they prove again why that they are the best team in the league at to this point. And I mean, right now the Ravens are sitting on top of the AFC North with the loss that Pittsburgh suffered last week. Well, last I guess it's still last week against the Cowboys on the final. Well, not the final play, but damn near the final play. And if the Ravens win, the Steelers have to win to keep pace, and the Steelers will bump ahead of the Ravens if they win, just because the Ravens lost to the Raiders, which that's a huge thing. Losing to an NFC team isn't as bad as losing to an AFC team. So that's where I'm at with it. I think the Ravens cover the spread, and yeah, I hope the fireworks for this game ignite everyone is anticipating with these two awesome to watch quarterbacks. Starting the 4 o'clock slate, you got the Chargers and the Broncos. Broncos didn't look bad last week. They actually played really well. If I'm gonna give credit where credit's due, Bo Nix. I mean, they dismantled the Raiders. I mean, they beat the hell out of them. PS2 had that big 100-yard, 101, 102-yard interception for a touchdown.
Mhm.
And I'll be honest, the game was shaping out to be like, oh no, the Broncos aren't it, man. They were down 10-0 early. Brock Bowers was their leading receiver, which that's going to be a big matchup for Pittsburgh. And then it turned around. PS2 got that interception touchdown, and it just seemed like the floodgates opened. And Bo Nix had a very solid game, 2 touchdowns, 19 completions, 206 yards. It wasn't like it was an offensive explosion for offensive side of the ball for Denver, but they just played a very good game. They limited. Brock Bowers did go off 97 yards a tud, but Gardner Minshew had 137 yards with 2 interceptions and a touchdown. So they limited a lot of what the Raiders have been doing since not having Devontae or Max Crosby played last week. Yes, he did. He played last week. So, I mean, for me, the Chargers being favored by 3, it just seems very baity. It's like a bait line to me. I'm not a big fan. And the Chargers are on a bye week last week. Am I right on that?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they played the Chiefs and then they had the bye week, like the bye week, and then they're playing the Broncos this week. I know Asante Samuel Jr. is out, which is a huge blow for that defense.
Yes.
But the Chargers have a chance to get above 500 with this game. And I think that it is in Mile High. I don't know. Does Herbert hold any injury at all? Do you know?
I don't think so. But I just always considered Justin Herbert to be hurt in some way.
You're not wrong.
He's
You're
always
not
hurt,
wrong.
man. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate. Yeah.
he's brittle, man. He didn't drink his milk when he was a baby.
I don't know. I mean, he's Wheaties or something.
I'm not a big fan of this game, honestly. Divisional game, being in Mile High. The Broncos, they haven't looked great. If I had to lean on something, I would lean on the Chargers -3, but I'm not touching it. I'm just not a big fan. I don't know who PS2 is going to cover. I mean, the leading receiver for the Chargers has been Ladd McConkey. It seems like Herbert really loves him. But I'm not a fan of this game. Any thoughts on this game at all?
I know Rashawn Slater's out, but Joe Alt will be playing. He's off the injury
That's
report.
huge.
Yeah. So they get one of their 2, big time offensive tackles back. So that's that's a big plus for Justin Herbert. Give him a little peace of mind. But yeah, I'm with you on this game, man. I don't really. I mean, the problem, the big issue that I see with with the Broncos too is it's just trying to get that running game going. I mean, that's kind of been their issue for a while, just trying to get consistency at the running back position. And Javonte just hasn't looked the same, pre-injury form and that. So, but like you said last week, though, they had a really good game against the Raiders. So hopefully, good things going forward for the Denver Broncos with Bo Nix. But the Chargers, I think the Chargers go over in this game. Not having Asante is a big deal. Gus Edwards, I don't think is playing, but J.K. has been playing, very well. So I think the Chargers still go over in this game.
All right. Another 4 o'clock game we have is the Steelers and Raiders. Obviously, coming out of Steelers compound, the news with Russell Wilson and all these Steeler fans calling for Justin Fields to be benched, blah, blah, blah. And Justin Fields is the starter.
Good.
Just Russ he was a full participant, but Russ is going to be the backup in this game if something were to happen to Fields. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers come out on offense and lay an egg the first drive. Everyone's screaming for Russ to go in. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think that Justin Fields gives you the best opportunity to win, and I've said that since we've started this year. The Steelers have to win this game. There's just the defense needs to figure it out and get back on track. They forced turnovers last week, and if you look at the box score, you're like, "There's no way the Pittsburgh Steelers lost," but they gave up big plays at the wrong times. And honestly, hats off to Dallas, man. They when they split the safeties and they seen that Minka wasn't in the middle of the field roaming, and they seen that he was shadowing over the top of CeeDee Lamb, they're like, okay, well, their X factor in the middle of the field, Minka, is not there, so we're just going to attack the seam, and that's where they were eating up yards. They got big plays in the seams, and leave it to Daddle to have his career day against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh hasn't given up rushing yards to any running back, and all of a sudden Rico Daddle has the best game of his career. It was a recipe for disaster, and I'm going to say it again. Justin Fields being handicapped with the playbook is a detriment to his team. You need to have the full playbook in his disposal and let him play the game. And if it happens again, that they're going to be in another field goal type game, that it's it's going to boil down to if they let him play or not. I mean, the guy literally has one interception all season. He's making smart moves, and I know whenever the Steelers' third-string quarterback came in and threw that laser beam on the first play for like 15 yards, they're like, wait a minute, why ain't Justin Fields doing that? Because Justin Fields is hesitant to throw them tight window passes, and I'll be the first to admit that. But that's going to come in time. Like, he's going to get more comfortable. He's going to let it fly. He's going to let it rip. But also, and I think in the back of his mind, and maybe you can piggyback off it, in the back of his mind, he's thinking, if I mess up, if I throw an interception, the starting job's gone from me. And I think that weighs a lot on these quarterbacks, especially when you have a quarterback situation like Pittsburgh does. He just doesn't want to mess up, so he's trying to play mistake-free football, and that's why you're not seeing him taking them shots. And maybe you can piggyback off of that. What's your insight on it? I think Pittsburgh wins this game and beats the Raiders. I think the defense gets right and limits the Raiders to nothing, and the offense just, we win this game by 4 points, 7 points. It's not going to be an offensive blowout, but I think that Steelers do win this game. But I want to hear your thoughts on the whole Russell Wilson, Justin Fields dynamic that we have going on in Pittsburgh.
I think you're absolutely right, man. I don't understand. Like, Pittsburgh, they have done everything but tell Justin Fields, like, this is your job right now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no
like playing
there's
head
no
games.
comfort. yeah, there's no comfort, man. There's no like okay, this is my team. I just need to not screw this up. Like there's none of that. It's just it seems like a week to week thing. They're like, oh well, Justin Fields, right now he's our blah blah blah. Like there's no reassurance. There's no nothing. So I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of hesitancy when it comes to really trying to hit these tight throws or make these big splash plays and get the ball down the field and whatnot. I think there's a lot of hesitancy there just because for that exact reason. It's like if I throw a pick or I have a fumble or I make a mistake or to have just not a good game all around, I'm going to get benched because Russell's here because they have not committed to Justin Fields, and Justin Fields has played well, and I don't think that's fair to him, to be honest. I think that he's played well enough, and he's kept the Steelers in these games, and he's kept them competitive. He's done more than freaking Kenny Pickett did,
Yep.
and Kenny Pickett was like the guy. I mean, he was the next Dan Marino or whatever, which you and me knew that wasn't going to freaking happen. Um, and that was garbage. But whenever you have a guy who's actually out here that's making big plays and doing the things that Kenny Pickett was supposed to do, you don't want to commit to him. That's not fair to Justin Fields, man. So that's where my stance is on it. So I agree with you on that. Two big blows for the Pittsburgh defense right now is not going to have Nick Herbig,
Yep.
and they're not going to have Highsmith.
Yep.
That's two very big blows to that. I mean, obviously you got T.J. Watt, so I mean, like, do you really need the other guys? I'm kidding. But you got T.J. Watt, obviously. Jeremiah Moon's going to get the start. DeMarvin Leal is also dealing with an injury. So
Leal's on
Steelers pass
IR.
rush. Is he on IR now?
Yep.
Did they move him to IR? Oh, okay. Yeah, there he is, neck injury. So hopefully he's okay. But yeah, just it's gonna be Jeremiah Moon. He's gonna be starting next to T.J. Watt, which Jeremiah Moon was originally with the Ravens. So he's a athletic guy, came out of Florida. He's very athletic, just hasn't been able to put it all together. So they'll have him out there. That's a big blow to the Steelers defense. As for the Raiders,
I was gonna say another on the injury side of things. I mean KZ's out. You don't have KZ.
yeah, Warren's questionable.
Jalen's questionable. Cordell Patterson
Cordero
obviously out. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah.
And Corey Trice is back on IR. I think it's the 4-game IR, which sucks because Corey Trice, when he's gotten his chance, he's played well. He's played really well. And another one that oh man, I have been a big fan. He's been playing well for us. Ryan Watts. Very underrated draft pick by the Steelers, but Ryan Watts has been playing well, very well.
Mhm.
And I hate that he's suffered an injury, but I mean, I know they always say it. Beanie Bishop out of West Virginia, he's been playing awesome for us.
He has. He's a little pit bull, dude. I like him.
Yeah, yep. And
yeah, I like
mean,
him.
he's gotten some penalties, but Beanie Bishop has been playing very well. So the injury bug hasn't hit us hard of some teams, but it is starting to catch us. And I do want to make mention before you go back in. Mike Tomlin's comment about why George Pickens played his lowest snap count his career last week was because he wanted to reserve his energy for the late game situation. Makes no sense. He's your best receiver on the team. He's a highlight waiting to happen, and he's only targeted twice the entire game. Is kind of mind blowing to me. But go ahead on forward with your comment.
Thank God somehow Pittsburgh didn't end up drafting Jaden Daniels because Tomlin would have benched him in the middle of the season and been like, yeah, load management. We're trying to give him a break. Thank God. Like, I mean, dude, honestly, like, Jaden Daniels would be playing like he is right now, dude. And Tomlin would be like, all right, let's pull the plug on that for the next 6 weeks. Let's get Russ out there. You know what I mean?
We got to let him calm down a little bit.
Yeah, we don't want him to hit the rookie wall. That's what he did to Chase Claypool all them years ago, dude. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
dude. Tomlin's over freaking rated. I said it live
I
on the
mean,
podcast.
hey, I'm a Pittsburgh fan, and I think Tomlin's overrated. So I'm right there with you, man. I really am.
I don't know what he's doing. I don't. Anyway, Raiders. I just had to get that out. Like it just bothers me. It's not. I mean, George Pickens, your number one receiver. Like you, I don't want to hear none of that crap. Get him out there. Let him play. You know. You wonder why he gets frustrated and gets mad. I mean,
Yeah,
there you go. That's just gonna piss him off even more. You know what I mean? That's not how you do things.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Then again, I'm not a head coach. What do I know?
Yep.
The Raiders. Yeah, Devontae Adams not playing. Shocker. Um, but the Raiders they're dealing with some injuries. Zamir White was hurt. Jackson Powers Johnson's also hurt. So they're dealing with some injuries on the offensive side of the ball, and potentially not having Zamir White is kind of a blow to the Raiders because the Raiders, in my opinion, biggest problem this year. Gardner Minshew's been solid. You kind of get you know what you're going to get with him. You know, like he's not going to
Yes.
be he's not going to be Patrick Mahomes. You know, like you know that, but he's a good game manager. He's like Ryan Fitzpatrick in a way. Like he just comes
Yeah,
out, he
I
plays
would
his
agree with that.
game. Yeah, he plays his game and he does well and he's good at what he does. So there's no you knew what you were going to get with Gardner Minshew, but not having a running game kills the Raiders. I mean, they don't have a running game. I mean, they literally do not have a running game. Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, all these guys, like the Raiders, they went into the off season were just picking up pieces, you know, just like trying to fix this team, and they forgot about running back. Like they were like, well, you know, we're just gonna pass the ball, you know, but you
Right.
can't,
Right.
you know, you can't pass the ball because you have Gardner Minshew. Now you really can't pass the ball because you don't have Devontae Adams.
Yep.
So Alexander Madison hasn't been the guy that everybody had hoped that he would be whenever he left the Vikings and got out of the Dalvin Cook shadow. You know, he's a good rotational back, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of guys that are like that. He's just not a true number one. Zamir White, he's not a true number one running back, but you know, just like I said, losing him in an already thin um, Raiders depth chart at running back is kind of a blow. So they're kind of one dimensional on offense, and like I said, you take Devontae Adams out of that, that leaves you Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
You know, Jacoby Myers he's a number two receiver. I'm sorry, you know, but
Always
I'm just
has
being
been.
honest here. He's a
Yeah.
number two receiver, you know, and there's not once again nothing wrong with that. He's a good complimentary guy. He's very good. One of the better number two receivers in the league, absolutely. But Trey Tucker, speed, get him in the open field, et cetera, et cetera. You know, maybe Trey Tucker gets a little more involved. He was rock solid coming out of Cincinnati. They've been trying to get him the ball, so they have that. But lack of running game kills the Raiders. I think the Steelers go over in this game. I just want to say too that Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame, came out 2 years ago, drafted by the Raiders. He's been out the last few games dealing with a personal issue. There hasn't been anything like indicating what it could be, but just shout out to him. Hopefully he's doing all right.
Yeah, I'm a big Michael Mayer fan as myself. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with any more with anything you said on that aspect. This is a must-win game for Pittsburgh, and that's what it boils down to. Especially with losing to the Cowboys, the Ravens won against the Cowboys. So if you want to stay on top of that NFC North, which we all know is a tough division, well, other than Cleveland and Cincy are looking right now, if you want to stay ahead of Baltimore, you got to win this game to because they lost to the Raiders, and that's what I said earlier. I wanted to piggyback to. So Steelers need it. This is a must-win game. I hope Justin comes out and the offense is firing. We know that Arthur Smith's offense isn't a high octane, go score 30 points a game type of offense, but he needs to change up something and get this offense rolling. So we got the Falcons and the Panthers. I mean, with this game, I don't have a whole lot, but I do
Game of the
want to
week.
say, well, I do. It's funny you
I'm
say that.
kidding.
I just want to say that the Falcons are where they're at. What we anticipated they're at. They're looking for the third straight win.
Hmm.
They've been clicking. Honestly, I believe they should have beat the Chiefs. Um, but and we're talking about the Falcons being 4-1 if they beat the Chiefs, but they're looking for the third straight win. Um, and it's a good time for them to get their third straight win. I like this game a lot for Kirk Cousins in that offense. I will say Bijan Robinson hasn't been high powered like we thought that he was going to be, like we've been accustomed to from Bijan. But I think the Falcons win this game by at least a touchdown against this Carolina team. Uh, Andy Dalton has came back to real life, and they got completely destroyed last week. I mean, it was bad. But I think that the Falcons have a really good offensive game this week, and the Carolina Panthers are just the Carolina Panthers. I mean, I don't see anything happening, or I don't even know what the word is. I don't see Carolina shocking anyone, I should say. I think the Falcons win this game pretty handedly in Carolina, and Kirk Cousins keeps rolling after his 500-yard game, and that's just all I got. Anything you got for this game at all?
Um, yeah, not much, man. I'm with you on the Bijan Robinson thing. I would like to see him get some touch. Him and Tyler Allgeier have been really trading off and stuff. Allgeier is a really good back too. So taking some touches away from Bijan with the limited touches that Bijan has been getting, kind of it's kind of got to be frustrating for fantasy owners that drafted Bijan Robinson top three. Um, I will say too. I mean, it rains, it pours for Carolina. Their starting center and backup center are both out. So the right tackle is out. I don't think Jadeveon Clowney's going to play, and
Yeah, he's
I think
doubtful.
Deontay Johnson's out. So
Oh, Deontay's out as well?
he has an ankle injury, and I think he was out last week. Maybe he's questionable.
I thought he played
It's
last week.
possible he's questionable.
Could be wrong on that.
Yeah, he's been dealing with that ankle injury, so I don't know if he's going to play this week or not. And if they don't have him, that's going to be another huge blow for the Panthers. But I mean, I just don't.
Yeah, Deontay did play last week. I think he got hurt last week, actually.
Was it last week that he got hurt? Okay,
Yeah. Um,
so there
we do have a
that
quick
could be a
question
big blow.
from Logan.
Hmm.
He's asking for trade advice, and he actually did shoot me a message before Thursday night's game. Uh, he inboxed me and said, "You guys haven't steered me wrong." He wanted input on Brock Purdy or Josh Allen, and I seen it late, and I told him I don't think he can go wrong with either of them. Uh, Josh Allen, this will be a bounce back game for him against the Jets, but he ended up going with Brock Purdy, which panned out anyway, regardless. So, but he does have a question. He said, "Do you think that I get rid of DK and Swift for K9 and DJ Moore? Who the hell's K9? Kenneth Walker?
Um,
Logan, if you can elaborate who K9 is.
it might be Kenneth Walker.
That's the only thing I
First
can.
name's
Yeah.
K.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was right. Yeah.
number
So
nine.
Kenneth
Yeah,
Walker.
okay. K9. I like
So
it.
DK and Swift trading for Kenneth Walker and DJ Moore. Hmm.
Mm, I don't know. I think I would probably keep DJ and Swift.
DK.
DK,
Yeah.
sorry. DK. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I mean, let's be honest.
Mm.
DK is a penalty away from having another monstrous game. And I think
He's
Swift,
ridiculous.
I think that the Bears realize that they have to get Swift rolling, and they've the past 2 weeks they really have. And I think that Geno's a better quarterback than Caleb Williams, so I believe that DK is a better outlook on receiver side of things. DJ Moore had a big game last week, but I don't think you're going to see that every week from Caleb Williams.
Yep, that's I share the exact same thoughts. Yep.
So if it's me, I'm keeping DK and DeAndre. That's just me. Um, Falcons. Yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate you coming in here and asking, bro. I really do. Falcons, Panthers. I'm taking the Falcons -6. That's just where I'm at. And, oh, by the way, the Steelers and Raiders game. Obviously, I don't bet it. I say it all the time, but I'm taking the Steelers -3. If that's what I'm giving people, I won't touch it. But if you want to bet that game for a 4 o'clock game, take the Steelers -3. I think that they win this game by at least 10. But Detroit, Dallas. Dallas didn't look great against Pittsburgh, other than the couple big plays that kept them in the game and the final seconds touchdown. Detroit has been playing Detroit football. Detroit has looked like we thought they would. Other than that game against Tampa, where they kind of just, I don't, they just didn't look like the same team. I think that I think Detroit rolls. Honestly, I think heavy dosage
Agreed.
of Jameer, heavy dosage of David Montgomery. I think Dallas gets steamrolled in this game. And to mention, Dallas has owned Detroit in the recent. Dallas has beat the hell out of Detroit, and I think being a -3.5 line, I think this is the game that you see Detroit getting that win call against Dallas. I think it's actually been Dak Prescott has owned Detroit, I should say. I seen a statistic the other day, but it doesn't sway my thought process one way or the other. I think Jared Goff and them Lions, they go out and they steamroll Dallas in Jerry's house. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, the Cowboys have three big injuries. No Micah Parsons,
Micah.
no DeMarcus Lawrence, and Eric Kendricks is also going to be out. So that's three defensive starters, that are obviously Micah's one of the top defensive players in the league, and DeMarcus Lawrence, no slouch. Eric Kendricks has had a career resurgence with the Cowboys. He's played really well. So DaRon Bland has been battling injuries. It seems like he's just always got something going on, which is unfortunate because he's very talented.
Right. Yep.
But he didn't practice on Friday, but he was a full participant Wednesday and Thursday. So maybe Friday they were just going to give him a day to kind of rest. But Kalen Carson, our other corner, he's going to play, but he was dealing with an injury as well. So banged up Cowboys defense going against a Lions offense that is really starting to click. David Montgomery's been playing like a man possessed. He's been just, pinballing off of people. His power with Gibbs' speed and just they're just great together. So I think with the injuries that Dallas is having, I think it's gonna be too much for. I think Detroit's gonna be too much for them to handle.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I'm taking Dallas -3.5. I love that line. And that's just, I think Detroit's too much for Dallas right now, especially with the injuries that Dallas has and not having two of their best pass rushers. I mean, that's a huge thing. And let's be honest, last week Justin Fields was pretty clean and didn't get really sacked, no real pressure, and just what it is. And it's unfortunate, but I hate seeing guys like that get injured. Even though I hate Dallas, I like some of their players. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott got to figure it out, man. CeeDee Lamb he had a great game last week against Pittsburgh, but he was also frustrated. There's times where you see he's frustrated once again. So they really need to figure it out. Two of their big money signings, re-signings on that offensive side of the ball. They got to get rolling. I think CeeDee Lamb does have a big game, but I don't think that Dallas is going to be able to keep up with Detroit. Bengals and Giants, another game that I'm completely shocked that they have the Bengals at -3.5. I mean, this is a big betting weekend for me. The Giants are without Malik Nabers, who has been the bright spot for New York. This is the primetime game. And let's be honest, the last 2 weeks, Joe Burrow has played amazing football. They just couldn't stop anyone to win the game. So,
yeah, their defense is not playing well.
But for me, I think you're still slowly starting to see Joe Burrow heat up. And as long as Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt in this game, the Giants win or the Bengals win this game easily. I mean, the Bengals are going to dismantle the Giants, and Jamar Chase is going to keep doing Jamar Chase things, especially the Giants. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeau is out, and like I said, Malik Neighbors is out. Kayvon Thibodeau has been playing a pretty having a solid season. Um, but I can't foresee the Giants being anywhere close in this game. I think the points are going to start tacking up quick. The offense of the Bengals is going to go crazy. T. Higgins is going to have a big game. Chase Brown's been playing well. I really don't have much for this game other than Joe Burrow. I'm glad that the Bengals started out so slow, and the games they're losing are pretty significant games, and they're 1-4 in the bottom of the standings because they're going to have to go on a major run in order to be in quote unquote playoff talk. I just don't see the Bengals losing this game, and I damn sure don't see the Giants covering the 3.5 spread. Any thoughts on this Bengals team? Obviously, coming off a heartbreaking loss with the Ravens, which they had a shot to win in overtime, but ended up botching the snap.
Yeah. They played really well against us. Like we alluded to earlier, Joe Burrow, bless you. Joe Burrow, he just starts the season cold. You know, historically, he just kind of always has, and he heats up, and then he gets all them guys involved, and they start just tearing people up. Joe Burrow gets hurt, and we go into the next season, and blah blah blah. So, I mean, if they can continue to keep building on the success, obviously I don't want that to happen. I like Joe Burrow.
Right.
But if they keep building on that success, then we could really be talking about a three-team race again in the AFC North with Baltimore,
Yes.
Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. Because I mean, with those weapons that the Bengals have, and Chase Brown, everybody was concerned about the running back position, and we talked about it at the beginning of the year. It's like, Chase Brown's got a lot of potential, and he's been playing really well, and he's given them that guy out of the backfield that they can trust. And Zach Moss is a good change of pace guy, So if the Bengals get rolling, man, the Bengals can really make some noise. They played us really well last week. The Bengals' biggest problem has been their defensive side of the ball. The defensive side of the ball just hasn't been haven't been able to get a pass rush going. They just got Myles Murphy back last week against us, so he's going to take a minute to kind of get back up to speed and everything. I really liked him coming out last year when he was coming out of Clemson. He's one of those athletic freaks that I think could really take over a game. But it's just getting him back to full speed. As for the Giants, I just want to say real quick, Daniel Jones, if you're watching the podcast, at least give us a shout out. I mean, I don't know. Like, at least give us a shout out because, I mean, we were ripping this dude up the first, 2-3 weeks. And, dude, last week, Daniel Jones without Malik Neighbors, man, he played a damn good game.
Yeah,
I mean, he really did. He played a damn good game. And I don't know. That's always been Daniel Jones' thing, man. It's just he has all the tools. It's just putting it all together. And last week they put it all together and they played really well. They weren't going to start Tyrone Tracy. I don't think they actually started Tyrone Tracy. They started Eric Gray, but I don't know how you don't let Tyrone Tracy just get his snaps. He has played really well for them. They let him play last week. He had a monster game. So, I don't know, maybe the Giants are starting to heat up a little bit, starting to find their identity, kind of getting a little bit of traction here. But at the end of the day, I don't think they end up winning this game. I don't think the Giants win.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, honestly. That's the time game, Sunday Night Football. Monday we have the Bills and the Jets, and the Bills are only favored by 2.5. The Jets have been absolutely horrendous.
It's unfortunate. It really is.
You have the Jets coming off firing their head coach, who was defensive minded, and then making the interim head coach another defensive minded coach.
Demoted their offensive coordinator.
Yes.
which we all know Hackett was just a product of Aaron Rodgers, 5 years ago
Right.
anyway. But
Yep.
whatever.
100%. 100%. Man, bro, I being a Monday night game, I like maybe sprinkling a little bit of money on this game just for something to watch. But bro, the Jets, they we took the over in the game in London, and thankfully it hit the number right on the head, so it was a tie. Didn't lose money. We got our bet back. But I've taken the Jets every single week, almost, I feel like, and it has been the offense. Last weekend was the first weekend I physically sat down and watched the entire game because it was a 9:30 game. I mean, what's better than sitting there on the couch at 9:30 a.m. Well, no, I wasn't drinking beer. I was going to say drinking beer but I had to go to work at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock. So I sat and watched that game, and I just sat there and watched it, and I don't. The offense is horrendous. It is so bad. Aaron Rodgers looks so out of sync with every single person on that team. And the bad part is the Vikings came out, and I'm like, oh, God, here we go. The Vikings are about to absolutely obliterate the Jets. And the Jets defense started getting stops. And it started, I was like, uh-oh, the Jets have a chance. And then Aaron Rodgers throws a pick. And they're throwing the ball so much, which it doesn't help things. Breece Hall has had like 27 yards in the last 3 weeks, which is unheard of. I don't know what's going on. If the offensive line, if teams just like we're gonna force Aaron to beat us, which that was the opposite thing that you wanted to do against Aaron Rodgers. You did not want him to try and beat you because you typically were gonna get beat. But Garrett Wilson had 23 targets last week. 23.
It's insane.
With 13 catches. Ty Conklin, 9 targets. Alan Lazard, 9 targets. I mean, I just don't understand what is happening with this Jets team, and maybe you can give some insight. What's your thoughts on this game? I don't think I'm touching this game. I don't see any way that Joe Allen and the Bills don't cover with the way the Jets have been playing. Or maybe Robert Saleh was the biggest issue for the Jets, and the Jets come out and it's a complete different team.
I don't know. I feel like with the Jets, Aaron Rodgers is my boy, and I don't want to say that it's Aaron Rodgers yet. I don't. But he's had more turnovers, and I mean, just that game alone, like, never seen Aaron Rodgers have a game where he was turning the ball over like that. I mean,
right.
That dude's he's always protected the football. I mean, he really has. Hopefully with Hackett kind of out of the way, because players were saying that what was happening was Aaron was basically the offensive coordinator, and Hackett just kind of, like I said a minute ago, that's probably how it was in Green Bay. He probably was just sitting there just waiting for Aaron to be like, yeah, we're going to run da-da-da-da-da. And then, Nathaniel Hackett just sits there and looks good and gets a head coaching job. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I'm not a Hackett guy. So him kind of getting bumped down is probably for the best. Get him out of his ear. Give Todd Downing a shot. See how he does. But I'm with you on Breece Hall, dude. You got to start trying to get the running game going. You have Breece Hall, who's incredibly talented, injury prone as hell, but incredibly talented. But you also got a guy who I was really, really high on coming out of Wisconsin. That's Braylon Allen. I mean,
yes.
Let the 20-year-old eat, man. He's the youngest dude in the NFL right now. He's built like a tank. He's got great speed for somebody his size, and he played really well in the preseason. I say try and get him and Breece Hall rolling. Try and if you have to switch your focal point of your offense to more of a run game or lean towards the run game, there's nothing wrong with that. It frees up options in the passing game. It gets Garrett Wilson open. Garrett Wilson was open. Mm-hmm.
Brother, here's the thing though. Like, they're trying to run the ball. Like they're giving Brees touches, and they're averaging like 2 yards a carry, and I don't
Yeah,
know
they just seem
what
so
the issue is.
predictable. You
And the
know,
one
like
thing that I
they just seem
see,
predictable.
yes, I agree with you 1,000%. The one thing that I see that's happening, and it seems like it's a lot of teams like Atlanta Falcons with Bijan Robinson. They're running the same. They're running plays that don't benefit the running back they have. Like the
Yes.
Ravens, they were like, okay, Derrick Henry is not this guy that we are trying to make him be. We need to get him
Get him
off
off
the
tackle.
tackle, get him
Yep.
in space, let him build up that head of steam. On the flip side, you have the Falcons and the Jets that are running straight up the gut with these guys. And when there's 8 people standing there, they can't figure out why they can't get a run game, and their quarterbacks are throwing 50 times a game.
Yeah,
It's
there's no creativity.
your running backs, Brees Hall and Bijan Robinson, are two of the most electric running backs in the league, and you can't get them in space in any way, shape, or form. You can't toss a pitch that's not predictable whenever it's 3rd and 1. Like on second and 5, you won't come out with something and get them off tackle to where they can get to that edge. I mean, the teams are sticking. It's like they're like, this is the way we're doing it, and we're not changing. And it seems like the offensive gurus have regressed this year compared to last year.
Yeah, they've tried to. They don't they don't respect the running game anymore. Like
No,
these coordinators, they just want to air the ball out. It's like, dude, you got to run the damn ball. You can't let these guys just sit back there and shotgun and run them, between the center and the guard. Brees Hall's not that running back. He's not that guy. I mean, he can do it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he'll bust big plays, but you got to get him in space. You got to get
not
him
this
off
year.
tackle. You got to, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, get him going. Get him going. Look at that. 9 carries. He averaged 2.6 yards. Braylon Allen also, he had 5 carries. He averaged 2.6 yards.
Yep.
Like, dude, come on. The
Brees
offense is just
Hall.
stagnant. They're so predictable.
It's
The Jets
it's
look like shit.
yes, they look bad, and I just want to make mention. Brees Hall is averaging 3 yards a carry a game on 65 attempts and has a total of 197 yards rushing. This man had
That's awful.
this. Was it? When did he get hurt? Did he get hurt last year?
The year he tore his ACL,
Yeah.
it was the year before. It was his rookie year.
Like I, I don't get it. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me why these teams refuse to change. I mean, the man almost had 1,000 yards last year rushing,
Yep.
and this dude has 197 yards rushing this year. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Najee Harris is in the same boat. Like Najee isn't having an explosive. He hasn't had that explosive rushing game yet, but it boils down to the same thing. They're not rushing the ball well with that. Like the way their play design is, I don't know any running back that could be explosive. And
It's like they went into the season thinking that Aaron Rodgers was going to be Green Bay Aaron Rodgers out the gate, and they just were like, running game, whatever. We have Aaron Rodgers. It's like that. Like they just didn't
yes,
really account for the fact that maybe Aaron was going to take a minute to get right, or maybe he wasn't going to be there Aaron Rodgers of Green Bay. Maybe he was just, but he's still zipping the ball. He's still
yeah,
moving around like Aaron Rodgers. He looks great. He just looks out of sync with, like, there was a few times where him and Garrett Wilson, which Garrett Wilson had a big game, but that's just because, like you said, he had 23 frickin' targets. Like, it's hard not to have a big game when you got 23 targets. But he only had 101 yards.
right,
So,
absolutely,
but there was a lot of plays that he missed him on that Aaron Rodgers never misses on. But it goes back to your offense being predictable and vanilla, dude. It's like when they line up and the single back, it's like they're running it. You know what I mean?
absolutely,
Like
yeah,
there's no, they just look predictable. They just look just out of sorts, man. Nathaniel Hackett is not a good coordinator at all. And it's not up to the quarterback. It's up to the quarterback to call audibles when he sees something at the line. But it's not up to the quarterback to call every freaking offensive play.
Yeah,
So
right.
hopefully Todd Downing gets them right and gets Breece Hall and Braylon Allen and all those guys rolling because they look like shit.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Yeah, I'm probably not touching that game. I don't like it, but that's the coverage we got for you guys for week 6. I finally have a weekend off that I can actually enjoy watching football. I'm not watching at work on my phone. So let's go over the bets. We are taking Baltimore minus 6.5. We're taking the Texans minus 6.5. Joe Flacco, if he's the quarterback, we're taking the Colts 2.5, but that's a game time decision. Taking the Falcons minus 6. Taking the Bengals minus 3.5. Taking the Lions minus 3.5. So let's lock in the bets 100% we're taking. Texans minus 6.5. Baltimore minus 6.5. Detroit minus 3.5. Bengals minus 3.5. Falcons minus 6. 5 games. Lock it in. Let's have a big weekend. Get the money train rolling. Steven, any closing thoughts on this Saturday, right before college kickoff?
Geno Smith should never have to throw 52 times in a game. And I never want to see that again because they looked awful. Anybody that watched the Thursday night game against San Francisco, I just had to say that. Like, come on, Geno. He looked bad, but
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. But no, thank you, Logan, for chiming into the podcast and asking us some questions and stuff, man. We really enjoy that, and like we really enjoy giving the feedback for a lot of these picks and questions that y'all have. So thank you guys for tuning in.
All right. Well, you heard it. You got the picks. They're out there. Check it out. If you didn't catch it live, the replay is up on YouTube. You can watch it there. And I'll be posting the picks also on the Facebook webpage. Everything is, all the links are up for all our pages, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. They're all posted. So we appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in, checking it out. We received 50,000 likes today on TikTok, which is huge. Which is it's an awesome thing to hit. Got us a lot of exposure. We thank every single one of you guys for tuning in. We are BS Draftcast because we are Brandon and all we do is BS about football.